Hey folks, Tim here from Rockout Videography again. Today we have a really short review on this Kibaga drum practice pad. We're going to talk about drum practice pads, why beginners need them, and many experienced players use them. We will also take a close look at this one so you can figure out if it's the right choice for you. Drummers have probably been banging on stuff to practice as long as there have been drummers. We know there's documentation going back to the 1880s describing drummers practicing on things like chair cushions, stacked cardboard, leather-wrapped wood, and calfskin drum heads on wood with padding. In the 1920s, the first patent appeared for a practice pad. It was called the Bauer practice drum. Later on, different types of practice pads began to appear in mail-order catalogs as well. In 1962, Remo released the first tunable practice pad. These became extremely popular, especially in schools. I can remember that every kid I knew growing up in the 1970s and 80s who was learning to play drums had one of those pads. Today, there are many different types of practice pads available, from simple to more complex. You can make one yourself and save money, but if you don't want the trouble or don't have DIY skills, there are inexpensive alternatives. This one from Kibaga was the cheapest one I could find on Amazon at around $18. It came in a cardboard box wrapped in a plastic bag and included a card from the owners of the company. There are no sticks, manuals, or other accessories included. It's made from a 10-sided piece of compressed fiberboard that is 283 millimeters by 18 millimeters thick. That's about 11 1/8 by just under 1/4 inches. They did a nice job on the bevel routing. On one side, there's a gray hard rubber surface about 4 millimeters thick. There's also a thinner neoprene type surface on the other side. It fits on the cheapest snare stand I could find, although I think an octagonal or hexagonal shape would have probably worked better. It also fit right on top of my snare without causing me to have to move the mic I have set up. The rubber surfaces prevent it from sliding around if you set it on a table or other flat surface, especially if you have it with the gray rubber side down. I thought this card from the owners was a really nice touch. Here's a demo, but first, we'd be really grateful if you would hit those subscribe and like buttons. Subscribing is free, and it really helps creators out a lot. Not just us, everybody. You can also get original design nerdy t-shirts in our merch store. I've got the drum pad mounted to a cheap snare stand. Here's what it sounds like and how it reacts, right? So you're going to hear people say when talking about drum pads that it's, practice pads are silent practice. They're not silent. And I've woken the kids up in the morning playing with this thing. It's kind of funny when your daughter runs out and says, "Hey, can you knock that off? I'm trying to sleep in late. It's a weekend," right? Anyways. So here's a rebound that you get. I'll try to demonstrate that as best I can. And this hard gray rubber surface, right? It's got good rebound. And it's got a certain sound to it. Another thing about this side, this is the side basically that we play on all the time, is that the sticks are not even leaving any marks on it. So it's really durable. I think this thing would last longer than I'm going to last probably, right? Let me show you what the other side sounds like. Here's the other side. Now this is more of a neoprene than the hard rubber on the other side. And this does leave stick marks on it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's leaving marks on it. So we just leave this side down on when it's on a table usually, but it has a different sound, right? The rubber's thinner. You hear more of the wood. So there you have it. It fits in the snare stand and both sides are usable. But again, I like that hard, thicker gray rubber side better. If you are interested in learning to play drums, a practice pad is a good place to start. For under $30, you can get started and find out if you really want to put in the time to learn without having to fork over $500 or more for a drum set. Since both the kids have been taking drums more serious lately, I've been encouraging them to use this pad, and one of their friends who has been playing our kit when he's over here just got a similar pad for his birthday. You can add a cheap stand if you want, or even sit on the floor at first, or just use a table. I recently watched Rick Beato's interview with legendary drummer Kenny Aronoff, who is a classically educated percussionist. He told a story about the first time he played for a serious drum professor. After watching Kenny, who was a gigging musician at the time, audition, the professor told him to go back to his practice pad. Practice pads can be an important part of any beginner or experienced drummer's practice routine. Some would say should be an important part. They can be taken just about anywhere and provide a way to practice basics and rudiments. This one seems like a good one and is really inexpensive. If you are looking for a simple drum practice pad, this one is about as cheap as it gets and should get the job done. Let us know what you think about drum practice pads. Do you use one? Do you recommend them? If so, do you think they're just something for beginners or for experienced drummers as well? If you have a favorite DIY solution, we would love to hear about that as well. I also want to take a moment to give a shout out to Beth Hammond, who may be the world's biggest expert on drum practice pad history. Her appearance on the Drum History podcast is where I got my historical information for this episode. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting the channel by watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Until next time, have a great day.